A game I've been playing for a while now is Etrian Odyssey, and I absolutely love it, so I thought I'd share the game with you by running you through it. But where to start? How about the beginning? All good games have one, so it's the perfect place to begin. In a town called Etria, a labyrinth was discovered, the Yggdrasil Labyrinth. And from where we can see, it's not a giant tree, but a forest going deep into the earth. No one knows who made it or why it's here, so folks like you and I, adventurers, are trying to figure out the mysteries of the place. And like any good adventurer, we gotta make a party. And to make a party, we gotta make a guild. Can't be wandering around no labyrinth without a guild. I bet you were just gonna go in there and have a stroll, huh? Nice Sunday stroll? You want this thing eating you alive? I doubt it. Anyways, we got a few choices for guild members, and I need someone doing damage, someone reducing it, and someone healing it. So let's get them together. First up, the Protector. A holy defender of the weak, equipped with sword and shield, though I really only need him for the shield. He's useless to me otherwise. Next, we got someone who will actually be swinging around a sword, the Landskinech. They're mercenaries. More so warriors in this game, they're masters of axe and sword, and will be our main damage dealer. Now on, we got the Troubadour. Support heavy singers, their songs will give our weapons some extra oomph, our armor some extra padding, and if we need it, even a bit of healing. Second to last, we got ourselves the Survivalist. Our secondary damage dealer, they also have some useful skills for traversing the labyrinth. And last but not least, the Medic. They heal, they revive, they cure status effects. What is not to love? Now that we've got our party together, we're off. And as you know, I'm trying to get you through the game as quick as I can, but the local government, they don't like that. Oh, you need permission to go in there. These folk are known as the Rata. In order to get into the labyrinth, we gotta head back and talk to them. Seeing we're new in town, they understand we want into that labyrinth, but they don't just let anyone in who makes a guild. We've gotta complete a mission before they recognize us as real adventurers. The mission is to map out the first floor, and if we can do that, we get to explore the labyrinth to our heart's content. So let's get to it. Now, although I find mapping out the floors super fun, to watch it is super boring. So instead of subjecting you to that, I'll go over my party's skill points while I get that done in the background. Every guild member starts with 3 skill points which can be invested into skills unique to their class. Here's what my party's looking like. The Protector focused on being able to protect the front line. The Landskinech got an attack boost, a skill to damage enemies, and an HP boost. The Troubadour got a song to increase the party's damage. The Survivalist also got an attack boost, a damaging skill, and then some agility. And then our Medic just got something to heal with, because they don't start with it. And for the sake of time, after every boss fight, I'll put up on screen what the party's skills are looking like. Something else that I think is pretty important, and I don't remember if the game makes mention of this, is if you unlocked any sword, bow, or shield skills, or any other weapon skills for that matter, you won't be able to use said skill till you have the appropriate equipment. And let me tell you, no one starts with the appropriate equipment. So we gotta get ourselves over to our local armor and weapons retailer, Shelika of Shelika's Goods. Here she can provide us with the equipment we need for anything the labyrinth throws at us. And as though on cue, our mission is done. With how challenging that was, we return to the Rata and hand in our map. With them now recognizing us as true adventurers and getting our adventuring permit, we can return to the labyrinth and explore it as much as we please. I have no clue why I thought the reward was an adventuring permit. It was to get permission to explore the labyrinth, not a permit. But anyways, here's an adventuring permit I made in MS Paint. So when I mention the adventuring permit later on, this is what I'm referring to. Speeding our way to the next floor, we find ourselves faced with a more prevalent challenge, a foe. A foe stands for Formido Oppugnatura Exquins. It's either made up words or it's Latin. Their whole purpose is to get in our way, but with some quick thinking and keen senses, we slip past all the foes on this floor. The foe dodging continues as we make our way onto the 3rd floor, and unlike their introduction, these foes are mad and aggro onto us instantly. This unrelenting beast, though, isn't as unrelenting as it seems, and takes a break from chasing us after every few steps, giving us just enough room to slip past. Away from that foe, we aren't safe yet, as we have another foe to get around, but this one isn't as hard. Well, doesn't seem to be as hard, but with an unplanned slip-up, we get our first game over. This clip is longer than I remember it being, and I forgot it wasn't even the foe that killed me. Past these foes, we meet two adventurers, a woman in black robes with fiery hair, and another who wields a katana. Seeming tense, we let them know that we're adventurers from Etrian, which does lighten the mood a bit, but they tell us that they have orders to guard this place, and we aren't getting through. They tell us their names are Ren the Ronin and Talachka the Hexer. Ren finishes our conversation asking us to return to Rata Hall if we want to know more. And with only one option to progress, we head back to town. Speaking to the clerk, he lets us know we should postpone our investigations of the labyrinth as some dangerous beasts have found their way into the first stratum. The Rata does post a mission to deal with these beasts, and we accept it. Beyond the third floor, there have been many sightings of wolves, which normally would be a non-issue. But these wolves are organized. They have a leader named Fenrir, and while their own adventurers, Ren and Talachka, the ones we met prior, could dispatch Fenrir, he's giving us the mission as a chance to grow. He then sends us off to fight the wolves and defeat Fenrir. With our goal in mind, we make our way back to the labyrinth. Ren and Talachka, seeing we've accepted the mission, block our way no more, saying they'll help us as best they can, but they really don't do anything for us. They give us a temporary healing point, but it's really not anything that important, so we're just gonna skip ahead. After making our way past some foes, we've got ourselves a boss fight. Fenrir's got some party members of his own that'll join the fight if we don't lure him away. And what's better bait than fresh meat? We are, of course. We bring Fenrir over to a nice and quiet alley and then begin hitting him. In no time, the alpha dog, the big wolf. Oh, I actually said that backwards. He dies, he's dead. So much for pack mentality. With our mission completed, we finish up, and although we could walk all the way back down to the Rata, it's too tempting to see what's on the next floor. Entering this new stratum, we see something interesting. A pillar of light. But before we can investigate, we're followed by Ren and Talachka. They congratulate us on our triumph over the wolves, and how we are now high-ranking adventurers. Ren, then pointing to the light, lets us know that this thing is a geomagnetic field, another mystery of the labyrinth, though a useful one. As by touching it, we can then be teleported from the labyrinth back to town. And with this useful piece of technology, we head back to claim our reward. With the mission now officially completed, the clerk thanks us for our work and rewards us with 2,000 gold for our time. He claims it's a small sum, but it'll buy us plenty of gear, so thank you, and we will be on our way. A side note before we move on to the next thing is, I like making maps because of this game, and I gotta show you my magnum opus here. This is how I'm gonna be dictating where I am in the labyrinth at any given time to you guys. Now back to the show. Almost as quickly as I left the Rata, I came back to get another quest. I remembered from previous playthroughs a mission coming up, so I took a gander to see if I could accept it before hitting another story roadblock, and lo and behold, I can. As we've made it to the 7th floor, the clerk is reminded of a mission that may be right up our alley. On the 8th floor, there's an egg that they want us to steal, but it's no ordinary egg. Stealing a regular bird egg would be too easy. No, they want us to steal from a creature legend, a dragon. And for what? So they can study it? The pay for this one better be a whole lot more than 2k, I'm telling you now. They do also warn us about fighting the dragon, as it's far more powerful than we are at this point in the game, and tip us off that we can dodge it somehow in order to get our prize. So off we go, to kidnap an egg and maybe get ourselves off by a giant lizard. On approach to the dragon's nest, we hear a shrill scream and the beating of wings. This dragon isn't some pushover, so we might want to exercise some caution here. Before stepping foot into the nest, we get a reminder of our mission. We need to find the egg without disrupting the dragon. And I'd like to say it was easier said than done, but I mean, for the record, the dragon did scare us a bit on first entry, but it's really not much of a threat now that we're in here. Stealing the egg wasn't actually that hard. With how easy it was to enter the nest, we just pick it up and walk right out. And though the dragon was on our tail at the end there, it never really followed us, so we're scot-free back to the Rata. Handing the egg over, we get paid 500 less than what we got for killing Fenrir. They're lucky I didn't make a dragon omelet due to this disrespect. But I guess, to make up for it, we're being introduced to a big shot in Etrian, Lord Vizzle, chieftain of the Rata. We have our pleasantries with him, then he lets us know if we plan to get any further in the labyrinth, we gotta find ourselves a hidden path. And this path just ain't anywhere, it's back in that dragon nest we just stole from. I kinda thought getting back into the nest would be harder, but it seems as though the dragon hasn't done anything differently. We make our way around it and find the hidden path, slipping right through and leaving the dragon behind as we venture on through the stratum. Let's see where we are using the handy-dandy map. Yeah, looks about right. Making our way through the 10th floor, there's not much stopping us, until we suddenly feel an imminent threat so scary we have to run back to the Rata to get permission before facing it. Back in town, we check in with the clerk. Seeing as we've made it past the 9th floor, he enlightens us to an issue they're having. A deadly beast responsible for killing many a man is lurking on the 10th floor, the very creature that had us shaking in our boots. And they want us to kill it. Though the task will be difficult, the Rata encourages us to take it on. Like I already wasn't gonna kill it anyways. From the mission description, we learn the fiend's name is Cernunnos. Rather than the clerk giving us the details like usual, we're instead ushered over to talk to the chieftain. Pleased with the undertaking of their task, the chieftain gives us a bit of background information to Cernunnos' name. Borrowed from an ancient god, this thing has caused trouble for the Rata for years. In 4 years, only 2 explorers have been able to get past him to the 3rd stratum. He ends this conversation by wishing us well in our efforts and hopes we reopen the way to the 3rd stratum. Really, I think this conversation with him was kinda useless, but oh well. Returning back to where Cernunnos had scared us last time, we overhear someone. Seeing it's Ren and Talachka, we decide to approach and see what they're doing here. Heading over to the two, Ren greets us, saying that in a way, we beat her expectations with how far down in the labyrinth we'd make it, then reminds us of how dangerous a place we're in, and that the Jungle King, another name for Cernunnos, is roaming nearby. She calls us the Rata's sacrificial lambs, and while I adore the pet names, we gotta keep things professional. Falling silent for a moment, she ponders why we were chosen for this task, and hands us a medicine bottle filled with Amrita. We don't actually need it, but I'm not gonna turn down a free item. Reminding us of Cernunnos' presence here, she then lets us know that if the jungle proves too much, she'll be waiting here to treat our injuries. And with a thanks, we continue on our way to the boss. As we make our way to the door before the boss, we mentally prepare ourselves for the oncoming battle. Though while doing this, I forget to quick save, so the stakes are really on. We find Cernunnos alone, standing in the center of a clearing. The beast is unlike any other we've ever seen. its terrifying aura abound, it's time to kill the king of the jungle. Only one death. That's not too bad. Unlike Fenrir, there was nothing our party could do that could stop him from getting his minions in on the fight. Though it still made it into a 5v3 rather than a 5v1, so the numbers were still in our court. And with our mission done, it's time to head on to the next stratum. A lot of blue here. With another stratum, we get another fast travel point, and taking that, we head back to town to claim our reward for Cernanos' elimination. For removing this thorn in their side, the writer gives us a nice reward of 3,500 gold, and they tell us that they are beginning their research in the new stratum immediately. Though, immediately isn't as immediate as it seems, as they need to make maps before they can do anything else. And while they did send soldiers to map out the place, their reliability is questionable. So since we're already so helpful, the clerk asks if we can help them again. Going back through my recordings, I have no clue what happened to us accepting the mission. So instead of showing us speaking to the Rata like usual, I'm just going to redraw it from memory, so please enjoy my artistic rendition. So we talked to the clerk, he said, "Good job for reaching the Azure Forest, please map out floors 11 and 12. He says, "You've accepted the mission, allow me to explain." The rat doesn't know much about the 11th and 12th floors. In the past, these floors were explored, but they lost all their records. Probably threw them out. And then we currently have soldiers mapping out the floors, but they're useless. So please map out the floors and then share the completed maps with us, please and thank you. This concludes my artistic rendition of whatever this was. Making our way through the 11th floor, we map it out as usual, nothing new. Though as we made our way, we found ourselves a door, an ordinary door, but stepping inside, we found Ren without a companion. Seeing us, she begins to speak. She asks us what we seek in this labyrinth, and I've gotta tell ya, I really don't want anything. To solve the mystery? Not my style. Become the strongest? I'll get there anyways, no need to seek it out. To kill time? Well, that's the closest thing. But, I got nothing, man. The chick's dig an inquisitive type, though, so I'll go with we're here to solve the mystery. She tells us our aspirations aren't unique, but finds some joy in them. She then starts telling us of Etrian's history and how this once small frontier town changed with the discovery of the labyrinth for the better. She refers to it now as a boom town due to the influx of adventurers, and asks what we think would happen if someone actually solved the mystery. Her stare locked on us, she moves on before we can give her an answer, and says we'll do what must be done, before pulling out a weathered scroll. She asks us to think on our path and what it'll eventually lead to. Giving us the scroll, she tells us if we decide to continue, it'll be of help, before leaving us with some kind words. This scroll allows us to recruit Ronin to our guild, and if it was given to us at any point earlier, I might have considered adding one to our team, but it's been 10 hours and I'm not leveling up another party member. Oh great, the Ronin was blocking our view and we fell through a hole in the path. It actually didn't, I just spliced it together with this clip because I didn't know how to transition to this one. As we recover from our fall, we sense some ferocious beasties around us, and using our superior survival skills, we deduce from the bite marks on the trees and the prints in the mud that this can be none other than an ant's nest. Wait, how can we be in an ant's nest? We ain't tiny. Or are we? Now, as we're heading through the floor, the ants did try as they might to slow our progress, though only once did I think they were gonna stop us. On this floor, there's also a frog enemy, and this frog curses the party so that they get damaged every time they try and attack. And with luck certainly not on our side, the ants made their move while this frog had his evil little frog hands on us. And while we did make it out of this encounter alive, from this one close call, they left an impression on us. An ant-like impression. From here on, we started to think like an ant, to feel like an ant. We began understanding the ants down to a fundamental level, and reaching a dead end, we know the ants, the very same ones who had us fall down a hole, would have something hidden around here. And would you look at that? Right as always. Reaching this hidden area, all we hear are the hordes of ants before us, and trying to get a better look, we find ourselves faced with a gigantic bug. Seems we've entered the deepest parts of their domain, and if we want to get through to finish our maps, we're gonna have to go through them. Now I do know we needed to kill the royal ant to get to the next level, but I don't know if we needed to do it to finish the maps. I've honestly never tried mapping out the entire room before fighting, but we finished the mission in the end, so not like it matters. Choosing to scamper back to the Rata, we go to turn in our mission and get our usual congratulations for a job well done. The clerk then starts talking to us about the labyrinth's existence, asking if it could have been formed naturally. I, for one, don't think so. If I had been around in ye old Etrian times, I would have shoveled these labyrinths myself. No issue. He says whatever secret may be behind it, it would benefit Etria, but the chieftain doesn't agree. The chieftain, though he encourages others to explore the labyrinth, seems to be against doing the same. Putting this aside for now, we present our maps and get our well-deserved 5,000 gold reward. The clerk then brings up another thing. The soldiers that were sent into the third stratum saw something deep in the labyrinth, something human, but not right. They then ask if we can look into this. Kinda unsettling knowing that there's other intelligent life out there in the labyrinth, but we accept the mission. The Rata has only gotten sightings of these creatures. They haven't been able to get close enough to interact with them. These natives of the forest may need to be dealt with, but that's for them to decide at a later date. And until this later date, we just need to look into them and report back to the Rata with what we found, of course being careful as there's no knowing if they're friend or foe. As we make our way through the stratum, we get our first real interaction with the forest folk on the 14th floor. As we're riding around on our epic pink flower lily pad things, this creature jumps out of the depths and we see it's a young girl with malice in her eyes. She says we're trespassing on sacred land? She must not know that we have an adventuring permit, meaning we get to go wherever we want in this place. Seeing how dumb she is and how smart we are, the creature disappears as quickly as it came. Reaching the end of the 14th floor, we don't get any other sightings of forest folk. Leaving the lily pads behind, we head down to floor 15. Though a rather small area to explore, we come to a door. This door is separating us from something strong. It's the only way we really have to go, so we carry on through it. Walking into the room, it appears to be empty, so we take note of our surroundings. A vast expanse of water like an ocean had been brought into the labyrinth, and as we're looking, we spy a shadow before us. Approaching it, we find the humanoid girl. The name's Kupala, by the way. And she starts shrieking at us, calling us trespassers of the sealed lands, and demanding to know what right we have to desecrate their sacred grounds. She mentions a pact between our people and hers. Before telling us any more, totally overreacts and summons their guardian, Core Triangle, with a whistle. With the guardian out of the way, Kapula runs off, leaving behind a stone tablet. For how rude they were, we're keeping it. That'll teach them for being mean to me. Thinking it best, we head back to town to tell the Rata all we've experienced with these forest folk. Handing over the stone tablet as proof, the clerk inspects it, finding engravings of a different language, and takes it to be analyzed while we continue our investigation. And for our hard work, who could forget the reward? 8,000 gold in our pocket. And now it's time to get on to the next stratum. I don't like the Sandy Barrens. The only floor I like is floor 16, and that's because it has these moving sand tiles. The rest of the stratum is just really annoying to traverse, so excuse me if I skip ahead. As we near the end of the 16th floor, we find Talachka, who is just hanging out looking at sand. God, she is so cool. We ask what she's doing here, and she says she was waiting for us, and tells us about her worries for Ren, saying something from her past is going to crush her if no one exposes the truth of the labyrinth. Talachka then takes out a small golden bell and says it will aid us, then timidly putting it into our hand, leaves us in silence. What Talachka gave us was the Hex Bell. It allows us to recruit Hexers to our guild, but similar to the Ronin, it's been 12 hours, and I'm not adding another party member. Maybe if it was given to us earlier, I might have considered it, but yeah, I'm not adding one. Coming back in on the 17th floor, I skipped over us retrieving the stone tablet from the Rata and getting a mission. The Rata have deemed it necessary to kill the forest folk, and like on cue, we come face to face with our favorite, Kupala. Staring at us with her big old bug eyes, she asks us why we're here. Has man forgotten the terms of the pact with her people? Given this is the first time she's let us talk, we ask her about the pact. She sighs, realizing we have no clue what she's on about. She tells us the forest, i.e. the labyrinth, was born of the world tree, and her people with it. Man, coming from the outside, saw how beautiful the forest was and wanted to enter. This started a holy war wherein the pact was made. The forest folk would stay in the labyrinth, and man would stay out of it. Finishing her retelling of the pact, she turns this into some sort of gotcha moment, saying that now that we know of the pact, we can't plead ignorant for our trespassings. And with that, Kupala starts running from us. Nothing else really happens throughout the stratum that I haven't already told you, so I'm gonna be skipping ahead again. If you feel like I'm skipping over something, I can only say that the only thing you're missing is the killing of no-name forest folk, which I wouldn't have even shown in the first place. Now on to the 20th floor, the forest folk we are tasked with killing have marshaled their forces against us. And with that, Kupala comes to speak to us again. She laments about the violated pact and the forest folk dead in our wake, how our own kind wishes for our death, and wait, what? What does she mean? But before we can ask, she leaves us with a challenge. Best the strongest soldiers in Guardian Bird, and the forest folk will concede defeat. Now this floor can be pretty difficult, as we have to kill every single foe, or the boss will just respawn, and if we leave the floor, the foes will respawn. So we have to create a careful strategy to kill them all while also managing our resources. So with patience, perseverance, and oh wait, they're all dead. It did take me an hour to get through this floor, but my party's pretty good at dealing out damage, so before the final boss, I just gave them some Amrita to restore their mana, and we were as good as new. Wasn't too bad. And now we can fight the Guardian Bird and see who is stronger, us or Iworo Penelope. With the Guardian's glow fading and our strength being mightier than the forest folk, we have come out victorious. The arduous battle over, Kupala appears before us, dumbfounded at our triumph. With nothing left to stop us, she urges us to continue deeper into the labyrinth and points out the way to the next stratum in a hidden path. She bids us one final farewell and disappears into the trees. We have completed our mission. The forest folk are a threat no more. Man, we should have asked her about the whole "our people are trying to kill us" thing, I think. Might have gotten an answer, maybe. Now, we do know where the entrance to the next stratum is, but before we can go down, we need to speak with the Rata, so back to town we go. Extermination complete. The clerk tells us we're on the cusp of the labyrinth's mysteries, and rewards us with 15,000 gold. I can only wonder what the forest folk would say if they knew their lives were worth only that much. After receiving it, we're asked if we had seen the chieftain. It seems he's disappeared into the labyrinth, and it's beginning to worry his people. The clerk asks if we can keep an eye out for him, and from here, we can begin our exploration into the 5th stratum. Coming back to the 20th floor and reaching the hidden room, the way down is unlike anything we've seen so far. It's unlike the natural stairways we've seen so often, and it's certainly not a geomagnetic field, but regardless of its looks, we step forward and proceed into the 5th stratum. Stepping into the 5th stratum, strange, wonderful buildings fill our sight. The familiar labyrinth of trees is gone, replaced by the walls of an office building overgrown with foliage and roots. What could these ruins mean? The only way to find out is to continue deeper. One of the first things we find as we explore is another set of stairs, and at its bottom is an old note yellowed with age, looking as though it's about to fall apart at any moment. The words on it are worn and hard to read, but by holding it up to the window for light, we can make out parts of it. It's referring to something called the Yigd Project, meant to save the Earth. Whoever wrote this was doing it for a greater cause than their own, it seems, for the sake of mankind. Before we can learn any more, the note disintegrates in our hands. What could they have been saving the Earth from? That note we found brought up more questions rather than answers, but before we can think on it more, we come across a tree bridging the two buildings, and on it some familiar faces, though sadly, they aren't here for pleasantries. Approaching Ren and Talachka, Ren tells us this place was never meant for us to be in, a sorrowful expression on her face. Etrian depends on adventures exploring the labyrinth as we already know, and the town can only prosper from people's desires to solve their secrets. No one must be allowed to, though. Ren continues, telling us curiosity is welcomed up to a point, but those who learn too much are troublesome. Thus, the Rada has tasked them with eliminating us before we can learn the truth. And to think, we were their sacrificial lambs. I knew I shouldn't have taken it as a compliment. Admiring our skills, the two enter into combat stances, and we must fight the only two friendly faces we've had in this labyrinth if we wish to survive. Though powerful, their skills were not enough to stop us. Exhausted, the two collapse and Ren begins muttering how they have failed Lord Vizzle. She then tells us they will stand in our way no longer, and that the chieftain is waiting for us on the deepest floor. And that is where we will finally learn the truth of the labyrinth's mysteries. Ushering us off, Ren hands us a small piece of metal, telling us to keep walking the road we believe is true, and raising themselves up, the two support each other as they walk off. We're nearing the end now, folks. Let's see how long it takes us to wrap this up. As we try to find our way to the lowest floor, we end up going down and back up to the floor we fought Ren and Talachka on, though in an area inaccessible from where we were before. In this area, we come across an unknown device made of glass and metal. Looking it over, we notice a switch or button in the device's center and immediately go to hit it. And with great trepidation, the device grinds to life. The dreadful noise echoes through the room, and we hear something else start moving elsewhere on the floor. Something we've been coming across through the stratum are these elevators, though until now, we haven't been able to use them. And whatever this device is, probably a generator, has restored their power, making it so that we can access the final floor when we're ready. And since there's no time like the present, it's time to head down. Named the moment of Epiphany, all that's left for us to do is to find Lord Vizzle and have him reveal the mysteries of the labyrinth. Making sure to keep an eye out for the chieftain, we end up going around the entire map before finding anything. But at the end of our exploration, we come to a long-reaching room, and traveling to its end is a massive door. Reaching for the door, we're stopped. "Mark well my words before you open that door," he says. You have done well to defeat such skilled warriors as the Forest Folk, Ren, and Talachka, he says. Is that just phrasing, or is he saying that they're Forest Folk? Truly none who have traveled the Yggdrasil Labyrinth are your equal, he says. Come with me to town, and I'll see that you receive the fame and fortune you deserve. I can tell you now, I'm not here for the money of fame. I was told that I'd be figuring out the truth of this labyrinth, and I made it this far. While the chieftain's offer may be tempting, I've come too far to turn back now. We ask the chieftain what lies beyond the door, and he tells us just what we wanted to hear. By the truth of Yggdrasil, will you be the ones to finally witness the labyrinth's secret? Of course we will. And with that, the conversation is over. The chieftain disappears behind the massive door, and we follow him in with the keycard. We have prepared for this moment over the course of our entire journey. It's time to end this. Long, long ago, a civilization greater than our own flourished. Its people had solved all the world's mysteries and had power to rival the gods. This power was called science. But does science not exist like in Etrian times? They have alchemists. Mankind gained dominion over nature itself. But humanity's technology also cast a dark shadow over its future. Their forecasts and projections increasingly showed their imminent demise. In destroying the environment, humans were making their own habitat unlivable. The danger was realized too late, and billions died in the resulting climate change. Mankind faced extinction, but there were those who refused to give up and kept fighting. The Yggdrasil project was formed to augment and restore nature with human technology. Named for the mythological tree of life, the project hoped to purify the contaminated Earth. Its lead researcher worked tirelessly, collecting data to contribute to the project. But all the while the deaths continued. The researcher lost his teammates, and soon after that, his wife and child. But he never gave up. He continued his research. At long last, he was able to synthesize a compound that would heal the land. But his experiments showed that a full recovery would take thousands of years. To see the Yggdrasil project through would take more time than mankind had left. The despairing researcher considered his options. As the last researcher alive, he felt an obligation to see the culmination of their work. In order to finish the job, the researcher took Yggdrasil's power into himself. He relinquished his humanity to be forever fused with the great world tree. I was that man. I am Yggdrasil's guardian. I led the project to revive the Earth, and now serve as the god's executioner. Adventurers, you now know the mysteries of the Yggdrasil Labyrinth. Yay! Alas, these secrets are too delicate to be let out of their cage. I bear you no malice, but I cannot allow you to leave the labyrinth alive. In dying, let your blood fertilize the land. Live forever within Yggdrasil. Man, I started checking out while going through that monologue. He talked too much. I gotta tell you that much, he talked too much. Up until this point, my party has been able to breeze through all combat encounters with relative ease, and now, at the final boss, every single time we went to face him, it would just result in us dying, like you just saw, which was super annoying, especially because we had to sit through his monologue each time. So, like the despairing researcher we are, we have some options that we can do. We can either go back and level up the party, which I'm only at level 57, we got a max level 70 that we can work with, or we can change the difficulty. And as a man of principle, I think you know what option I chose. Even on Picnic difficulty, when he started deflecting every single attack, I thought, no way. Am I just not going to be able to win? Do I have to grind, like, however many hours it takes to get to level 60, maybe go to 70 just to defeat him? But I'm glad it's all over, even though I took the coward's way out. Last time I played this, I definitely just spammed Smite, so that he wasn't able to attack us, but I forgot to get that ability this time around. Yeah. There was a distant shattering. The small but clear sound marked the end of the world they knew. The body of Etrian's chieftain rolled down from the mighty tree Yggdrasil. The emotions giving strength to the tree faded. The chieftain's corpse bore the signs as well. After 1,000 years of life, his cold shell lay still on the ground before their feet. Yggdrasil has stopped moving. There was no way for them to know how much of the ruined world had been purified, but they resolved not to give up, reasoning that trials existed to be overcome. The adventurers who had traveled all this way would no longer fear any obstacle. Though one adventure was over, they made a pact that day. Their new purpose was to save the Earth and spread Yggdrasil's truth to others. And with that, the game is over. Although I'm not going to get into it, this game does have some more content to do. There's a whole other stratum left to explore, quests which I end up not doing since I don't give experience, and a few optional bosses we hadn't seen. So if you're watching this and you like Etrian Odyssey, I definitely recommend it. I love this game, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It's my first time making something like this, so let me know what you think. Should I have done something differently? Let me know. Thank you.